Hi everybody, welcome to J&S Farms, and today I thought I would run through kind of the criteria that I use for keeping some of my young rabbits as breeding stock. So I will quickly run through some of the criteria that I use, and then I will go into a more in-depth explanation. And then at the very end of the video I will show you a couple of rabbits that I have chosen to keep back as breeders for next year, and then I also have kept back a few that I'm going to sell as well. So before I even consider keeping back some rabbits, and there are some years that I don't, I really kind of look at what I need, if I need to replace any rabbits, or I kind of look at the local market as to, you know, how many, is the market kind of flooded this year, or can I actually make some money if I keep some over the winter. Sometimes it varies by years. Some people get into the rabbit business and then it drives down the prices, and it doesn't really matter, or it doesn't really make it worthwhile keeping some over the winter time. It's always kind of a gamble to guess, but if you keep back a few, you always kind of want to pay attention to that. Now, everybody's idea of the perfect rabbit is going to be different. My idea of the perfect rabbit and my neighbor's idea of the perfect rabbit are completely different. It may not be, you know, extremely different, but it will be a little bit different. I like certain qualities in my rabbits, and they like others. So this is just my opinion, and you can kind of take it as you want. So, first of all, you need to know what traits you want to have in your rabbitry. What do you want your rabbits to do, or how do you want them to perform? And a lot of that depends on what you want to feed them. So, kind of know how you're going to want to feed your rabbits, and then kind of select traits for that. You know, you could go the commercial way and just have all pelleted feed. You can kind of do a mix of both, which is what we do. And you can also just have the natural way, where you just feed them whatever you have on hand and whatever you have decided to keep back and feed them. So breed selection is kind of important for that. You don't really want to take a commercial rabbit and try to raise in the natural way. They usually do not tend to take to that very well. So kind of know what you want at the end game before you start. So anyway, okay, so my evaluation process has two stages. When the litter is born, I go through and I evaluate all the kits. I kind of look at them and take notes as they grow. And then when weaning time comes around, I'll take each kit. I'll look at them as a whole, and then I will kind of pick out the ones that grew a little bit better, that have a little bit more correct conformation in their structure, and I'll take them out and I'll kind of evaluate them. I'm looking for any obvious deformities. I'm looking at their size and their growth, and then I'm also looking at their structure. So at this point, I'm not overly picky about this, because they will change as they get older. And the ones that kind of I want to keep an eye on for later, I'll put them in the save, I call it the save for later pin, and then I have the other pin that is just the cull pin, and that's how I separate them out at weaning time. Now, before I butcher, I kind of go through the keep for later pin, and what I'll do is I'll kind of pull out the best of the best rabbits that I think have performed well, that have really kind of shown promise. And at that point I will do a very thorough examination of them and go through. There's three main things that I look at: performance and feed conversion, overall structure of the rabbit, and I look at their teeth, and then a few other little things, and I'll let you know kind of what that is. I'll kind of break it down here for you. Okay, so the first thing is performance and feed conversion. Like I said, I look at all of the animals in the grow out pen, and the ones that have seemed to grown the best, they look good and healthy and robust, I will pull them out. And then I evaluate their overall structure. Now, when you do evaluate the structure, you're going to need a flat surface to work on. If you don't have a flat surface, you can kind of get, I mean, you can evaluate them on a surface that's not perfectly flat, but you get a better idea of the rabbit if you can find a nice flat surface. Okay, so what I'm looking for in a rabbit, the first thing I look for is the transition from that shoulder to the rise on the rabbit, which is the top of the rabbit. Excuse me, I have to back up here. First, what I do is I pose the rabbit. And it is a show pose, but you want to make sure that the front end is perfectly aligned, and then the back end where the hocks meet is perfectly aligned. And I'll show that to you here in a minute. It's kind of hard to explain without having a rabbit in front of me, but I'll show you how to pose the rabbit here in just a minute. You want to make sure they're posed correctly, and then you want a smooth transition from the shoulder to the rise. You don't want, the shoulder and then the rise. That's that structure is not really a great structure. They usually have smaller shoulders when they have the rougher transition. I like nice rounded shoulders, as I just said. I like a nice wide loin. Everybody's opinion on a wide loin is different, so whatever you think is appropriate for that animal. I like nice meaty hindquarters. Again, that's personal preference. And then when I flip the rabbit onto its back, I want its hocks to be nice and square, and I'll show you that here in a minute. That just means the structure of the rabbit is going to be pretty darn close to good, to perfect, just by the way their hocks are going to be facing. So anyway, and then teeth and other considerations. Their teeth are very important, actually. It's how they eat, obviously. So if they don't have very good teeth, they're not going to be able to sustain themselves, let alone raise a litter of kits, or in a buck's case, keep his condition up in order to breed the does. So their teeth should be properly set with no chips or gaps, no broken teeth. If they have an abnormal bite, you don't want that. And then you want teeth that are the proper length. You don't want them too overgrown. Overgrown teeth can lead to abscesses and sores, and it's just not overall good for the rabbit. And if you're keeping one that's got that problem, it might pass that on to the kits, and you don't really want to have abnormalities kind of going in your line if you're line breeding. So you want to look at their eyes, make sure they're nice and bright and alert, no discharge, things like that. Their nose, you want it to be clean and free of any discharge. If they have discharge, then you're going to want to separate them anyway, because they've got some kind of goo going on in there, and you don't want that to spread. Ears, you want them to be clean, free of ear mites, and you want them to be a nice, good, full ear. So, because the ears on a rabbit are the heating and cooling system, so, or excuse me, the cooling system of a rabbit. So you want them to have a nice set of ears on them as well. And then, of course, their feet. You don't want to have any missing or broken toes, missing claws. Check for sores. Sores on their feet. If they have sores, then they're going to be prone to having sore hocks. And that's just one of those things that's kind of an annoyance. You have to treat that rabbit in a special way. And a lot of you know that, you're really busy on a farm, so you don't really have a lot of extra time to devote to an animal that's going to take up more time than, say, another animal that's going to produce more for you. So, anyway, that's kind of an overview of what I use. And I will be back with you here in just a minute, and I'm going to pull out a couple of rabbits for you and just kind of show you what I mean by some of the things that I've just said. So hang tight, and I will be with you shortly. Okay guys, I'm going to show you this real quick. This is the evaluation page that I use to evaluate my rabbits. And each one, I just circle the score that I give the rabbit. And then I give them a total. And depending on how many rabbits I'm going to keep that year, whoever has the highest scores gets to stay. The other ones get put in the coal pen. So I just thought I'd show you some of the things that I evaluate whenever I am considering keeping a rabbit. Alright, and I will show you these real quick. Let me go get the rabbit roller real fast. Okay, and this rabbit has not been trained in table manners yet, so she may be a little squirrely, I'm not sure. Now, she is one of the nicer rabbits that I've chosen to keep this year. Come here, girl. Come here. I'm having to work out in my greenhouse right now because it's the only dry surface that I have at the moment. It is misting rain outside, so this is the flattest dry surface that I have at the moment. Alright, come here, girl. Now, when I'm posing her here for you guys, it's going to be kind of unnatural for me, so it may not be perfect, because when you evaluate them, you want, since I'm standing, oh, easy girl, come on now. When you're evaluating them, actually you want to, oh, come here, girl. You want them to be posed with their eyes kind of towards you, or facing towards you. And that way you can really get down and evaluate the structure of the rabbit. So I'm going to show you kind of the basics of doing that. Hopefully you're pretty good. Now you be good, girl, okay? Alright. Now, when you're posing your rabbit, she pooped on the table. Here we go. Alright, you want to try and get this front foot in line with their eye as much as you can. And this back foot in line with their knee as much as you can. And you want to kind of get their rise up as high as you can. So scrunching them usually helps in getting their feet set in the proper position. So once you got their feet set, they usually will be structurally correct for you. Alright, now she's, from what I can tell, she's in pretty good alignment here. Now the rise, this is kind of where this rabbit is a little bit on the weak side. She does have a decent transition. She does have a little bit of a gap, but it's not anything too severe to really knock her down too much on a score. So she does have a nice transition from her shoulders to her rise, and I like that. So let's see. You want their shoulders to be good and round, so I am going to face her towards you guys here. Alright, let's see if I can get her to pose correctly here. Alright, she posed nice for me there. You're pretty good without having a lot of table manners. I usually don't train my rabbits to pose unless I'm going to be showing them, and I haven't done that in years, so... now, the rounded shoulders. Let's see if we get her ears out of the way here. See how she's got nice rounded shoulders? They come and they round out and then kind of meet back here where they should. A rabbit that's going to have narrow shoulders is not going to have... what I mean by narrow is they start here and they just kind of make a straight line. These are nice rounded shoulders. A rabbit that has narrow shoulders is not going to have a lot of meat on their front shoulders. I know there's not a lot of meat there to begin with, but you want to try and get as much as you can. So, alright. Now the width of the loin, you're going to take, she has a really nice loin on her. It's nice and round. When you look at the top of the rabbit, let me see if I can get you over here, because that's where you're going to want to look. see if I can get her to stay posed here. All right. Now, you see how she's nice and round out of her loin here? She's got a little bit of an indent, but it's not too much. Now, a rabbit that's got a narrow loin is going to be, you're going to be able to define their loin when you pose them, and you're going to see a hollow spot right in here. So they're going to have a narrower loin. Let me see if I can get a better shot of those shoulders for you. See how wide nice and wide her shoulders are? Now, her transition isn't the best, but she's got nice wide shoulders. And she's got a really nice loin on her. Okay, let's see if I can sit this back down here. Okay. Now, you want nice and thick, meaty quarters. Like I said, that's personal preference. She's got nice big old legs. You can just feel them. And whenever you do pose them to check the meat on their legs, see how nice and she goes pretty well to the floor with her loin, and it's good and meaty in there. So when I got her to relax for me, she had nice straight hocks. She's just not wanting to relax for me right now. I haven't handled her a whole lot, so she's got a few manners, but not the greatest table manners. All right, and then you just want to look at their overall condition. As you can see, she's got a nice coat on her. It's nice and soft. She's well fleshed. She's got nice clean ears. Her nose is nice and clean. She's got all of her toes and nails and things like that. So anyway, this is one of my older rabbits, and I'm going to go grab a younger rabbit, and hopefully that one will cooperate a little bit better than her. I do not tattoo my rabbits until they are officially breeders. So when she gets bred, she will also get tattooed. Alright, I'll be right back with you with another rabbit here in just a minute. Okay guys, so I have one of the other rabbits that I have held back. And this girl is out of a fall litter, so as you can see, she's a little bit more juvenile than the last rabbit that I had. So you kind of got to take that into consideration, that she's not going to be as advanced in some of her conditioning and things like that. So anyway, she has a really nice structure that I like about her, and I'm going to see if I can get her posed. She also has not been taught in table manners, so we'll see if we can get her to cooperate here. Alright, I'm going to try and get her posed here. There we go. And then I'll kind of show you if I can get her to sit still for me. I guess I should table train my rabbits for you. Get her posed. Alright. Now, this rabbit, one of her downfalls is her loin is not as wide as I would like it to be, but she still has a pretty darn good loin on her. And I'll show you here in just a second. Let me pick you up here. See if I can get you over here without having her move. Okay. She has a really nice transition. See how nice her transition is there? It's nice and smooth through her rise. And let's see. Let's get your leg back there, little darling. Now, she's not quite posed correctly, but that's alright. She's not been trained. She's got a nice wide shoulder, and then, well, she's not posed quite right, so she's not really showing you all her best attributes. Okay, now you can kind of see a little bit of concaveness right here, but when you get your hands on her and really evaluate her, she's got a nice loin for her size, and she really drops down to that table nicely. Her meaty hindquarters kind of really drop down to that table real nice. So she's got a really nice overall shape to her. I like her quite a bit. And she has the added bonus of being very, very pretty. I kind of really like this color. And she is a nice little rabbit. She's just hasn't been table trained too well. Now, I don't think I explained the hocks too well last time that I had the other rabbit. She was a little bit big. And this one's a little, you can finagle them a little bit more when they're smaller. So I'm going to try to show you a better view of the hocks here on her. So we get her, I think she's going to cooperate a little bit better for us, I hope. Okay. Alright. Now, you see kind of how parallel her hocks are? They can have a little bit of a twist to them, but you don't want them to be outright, you know, going that direction. So she's got nice parallel hocks, which means her bone structure's set up pretty darn good. This is what you're going to want to see whenever you flip your rabbits. Now, when you do it, this is unnatural, as I said. When you are going to do it, you're going to want to have them facing you. Easy, girl. And you're going to want to try to get down low and get a nice perspective on those hocks. So, and then while you're down there, you just check the normal things, the sex and the tail, and check all the toes, make sure they're all there, all the claws. Now, I'm going to show you her teeth. She has pretty darn good teeth. Most of my rabbits do. I haven't really had... This is a, let's see if I can get this to cooperate here. Okay. Let's see if I can get her finagled here and show you her teeth. Alright. Now when you do the teeth... Oh, sorry, girl. You'll take one side... Oh, it's not really working. Okay, there it goes. You take one side of the foot, good grief. One side of the cheek and then the other and just spread them. And it'll expose the teeth. And let's see if we can get good. She's got a nice set to her teeth. They're both the proper length. She's got a really nice set of chompers on her. So anyway, that's how you check their teeth. And that's kind of what you want their teeth to look like. And she has been a very nice little girl. You've been very cooperative, much better than the other one. But anyway, she's wanting to hide. Okay, so that's how I evaluate my rabbits for breeding stock. I hope this was helpful, and you guys have a good day. Any questions or comments, feel free to ask. And we'll see you later. Oh, don't you thump at me. Don't you thump at me. You're not thumping at me. That's not nice. You guys have a good day. Take care. Bye.